So today I'm speaking with Christy Joe, and she's an expert in sales pages. So today's episode is going to be all about sales pages and what to do and what not to do. I'm Jean, and I help online business owners scale their businesses with design and marketing. Hi, Christy Joe. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, no problem. I'm excited about the topic of sales pages because this really is the lifeblood of a business. And if your sales page isn't created properly, you will lose your audience. So when someone is creating a sales page, what is the first thing that you would recommend that they do?
Yeah, so on the first part of that, I just want to say sometimes when people they can have an amazing offer, an amazing course, or even an amazing service that somebody needs. But if their sales page to their offer or service is wonky, then they can just close out and be gone. And they say that people only stick around for 3 seconds these days. So definitely the first thing is that initial catching their attention part, that you want them to stick around to make it to the end to click the buy button, right? So you want to make sure that they make that all the way to that part for sure. And so one of the biggest mistakes that I see that people make is at the very beginning, they just want to and also what I've learned is that people are selfish. And so, you have to make it about them, not about you. They don't care what your course name is, or, that this is something maybe that you've worked on creating for the last 6 months or anything like that. They don't care. They want to know what it's going to do for them. So the very first thing that people usually do is they'll put their name of their course and then maybe what it is. Like, this is a 6-week course that helps you learn Photoshop or something like that. Whereas the first thing that needs to happen is that attention grabbing headline that they read it and they go, oh my gosh, this is for me. They don't have to know the name of the course, how many modules. They just read that and they immediately think, yes, that is me.
So you need to make an emotional connection right off the bat.
Yes, that, there is which I know that I don't have children, so I probably can't resonate as much, but there's a lady that has a course, and it's to help babies sleep through the night. So for mothers who are struggling to get their children to sleep through the night, you would read, maybe this is the course name and what it does, but when you start off that initial headline of, are you ready to wake up with your newborn after 7 hours of blissful sleep, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, yes. Mm-hmm. Instead of the get your baby to sleep course, it's that, oh my gosh, yes. Like where people say, shut up and take my money, that they read that first sentence and that's their initial response is, hold on, let me go get my wallet. Yes, that's what I need.
Is there a specific platform that you love using for sales pages?
Yes, I personally love Showit. I know that WordPress and Squarespace are both amazing as well, but I love Showit just because of how easy it is. You and I are both designers, and I feel like we probably, even though designing for yourself isn't always that easy as people think that it is.
So hard.
But, Showit is really good for people who don't have that background of designing their own brand or website, for sure. That's why I love it.
And is that because it's drag and drop and it's really user friendly to where you can make it exactly how you want it?
Yes, first of all, there's tons of templates that you can upload, but then also if you want to do something custom, it's so easy just to add a text box here, change the font, add an image here, and just resize it so easily.
So whenever we're discussing the benefits of things, we always have to talk about the mistakes. And so the first mistake you kind of briefly covered when it comes to what to put in the copy first. So can you talk to us a little bit more about the next mistake?
Yeah, so right after that, you've got their attention. One of the mistakes that people make is then they want to start kind of jumping into, here's what my course is, how many modules, and you can very quickly overwhelm people because they're thinking, oh, great, I'm going to get my baby to sleep. Oh, wait a minute, I have to watch 72 hours of videos. And so instead of just throwing this information that's, course one or module one is this and module two is this, before you get into overwhelming them with that information, taking them through that journey and kind of introducing them to, here's where you're at, maybe here's how you're feeling. So for the example that I used on the newborn, right now you are, can't even finish your first cup of coffee because you're dozing off. That that just kind of resonates with how are you feeling right now. And so maybe for a graphic designer, web designer, like you're struggling to create your images, you don't know what fonts work together, like picture where they are right now without your help and really hone in on that struggle of without you and this course or your offer, this is where they're at and this is what they're struggling with, and pinpoint those so that as they read those, they're going, yes, that's exactly how I feel. Yes, that is me. That is, this lady is just talking to me, where you're like, is this even for anyone else? This is specifically for me.
Right. One of the mistakes that I see is, and actually struggles for someone who creates sales pages, is the length of content, because literally you really should edit, right?
Yes.
Because the content can't be too long, but I think most of us create content in long form. So can you speak on that?
Yeah, I think that, and of course you, like, for sure, don't just not give them information because you're thinking this is too much text. You definitely want to give people the information. And a lot of times, there may be a lot of things that need to be included in text form, but it shouldn't read like a book. That's what I always say. And that's one of the mistakes that I see. People just get on and put these paragraphs like you would actually see in a Vogue magazine or something that you open at the airport, that it's just text and a picture, and their sales pages almost mimic a magazine cover, with that one picture and then all of this text. And that text, may need to be included, but breaking it up is so easy. And you can do that. You should definitely have shorter sentences, graphics. And that's why I like Show It, because you can bring in like rectangles or arrows and just keep the eye moving down to where they're going to continue to read that. But what happens when you have you pull up this sales page and you just see all this text, even if they're not immediately hitting the X button going, I don't have time to read this. If they do stay, they're going to just skim through and kind of look over and maybe miss some of the important parts. So you definitely want to make sure that you are breaking up all of those texts, and then even, highlighting things with bold text using italics or, and Show It. That's
the font hierarchy.
Yes. And then, in Show It, you can even put color behind text. So you're kind of highlighting that pain point maybe, or something that they get for free, or something with that, or something that's maybe changing from, I mentioned the struggles that, instead of struggling, you will sleep peacefully for 7 hours. You could highlight that to really kind of stand out and just break those paragraphs up.
Yeah. What do you think about having a training video, a free training video on a sales page?
I personally think that, one, it depends on the length of that. I don't think people are probably going to watch something too long. Usually people know, like, this is for me or this isn't for me. And that's how I believe. I do think that there's probably people that are, I always picture like scientists and people who are, or maybe attorneys who, they want to read every line of the page. So I think your audience depends a lot on who your audience is, and then also how familiar are they with your product. So, let's say you're doing a Photoshop course, and if this is for maybe a beginner or a newbie, they may not really even know why they need Photoshop, whereas an expert, you're not going to really have to do a video. But what I do like to include occasionally is a behind the scenes, like this is kind of what you get video. So anything, but I do like video. Video breaks up that text, it adds something. Now GIFs are really popular. So doing short GIFs that kind of show people like, here's the course. Yeah. Those are always really fun to include as well too.
Okay. So are there any other mistakes that you like to address before anyone digs into this?
Yes. So one of the things that I see is payment buttons, and there's several mistakes I see when it comes to payment buttons. So there's either where you have to go through all of that text that it's like reading a magazine, and then there's just the one payment button at the bottom. But the other one is that the payment button doesn't even look like a payment button. Or it doesn't stand out enough for them to, if they are scrolling or just kind of reading over, and maybe they might even be thinking, okay, I already know this is for me. Maybe you've sent them an email. Maybe it's their second time on the page. You want that payment button to be easy squeezy. I mean, that's how you're getting money. So let's make it as easy as possible and stand out. And one of my rule of thumbs, which, for branding, you should have several brand colors, but pick one. So for example, my brand, I have a dark teal color and then a really light bluish kind of teal color, and then some light softer colors, and then I have this lime color. And I really like to highlight my payment button with that, and I try to use a color. I keep my payment buttons consistent throughout, so that anytime that maybe they see maybe a hot pink button, if you have hot pink, that hot pink button throughout, that they know there's that payment button, and then clearly stating, buy now, join now, get in now, whatever it is. And even that arrow, I really like to add the arrow too, and just putting that, sometimes I'll put like a square inside of a square so that it just really looks like a button, and making it probably bigger than you even think that it needs to be, because sometimes I see these little tiny buttons and they'll just say join. So that the payment button, definitely, because that's how you're getting your money.
Right. Would you put them in more than once?
Yes, I definitely like to scatter them throughout the page. In fact, we talked at the beginning about the attention grabbing headline, and then having maybe some sort of sentence after that. I even like to add like join now, kind of maybe not quite that big payment button at the very beginning, but even having, sometimes I'll have a header on my website that allows them to purchase. And that's really for people that maybe already know who you are, or maybe you've talked about this course, or they've read it in an email and they already know they want to buy that, so they don't have to go looking for that. Because at any time your toddler could come knock on the door to your office and they're going to go, oh, haven't found the payment button, and they go off to, turn the channel for their toddler or something, and they come back and they're like, I don't even know what I was doing, and they're off the page. So just making it easy for people to have that initially at the beginning, for people who are clicking on the page because they already know that they want to buy, and then including it. I usually try to include it. Of course, it depends on how long your sales page is, but 3 to 4 times throughout at least. And then always at the very bottom. So always you don't want them to have to get to the bottom and then go back up to look for that buy button.
Yeah. And then there's also, can you touch on the different types of buyers, why you would have your button at the top and then at the bottom? Because there's 2 types of buyers. There's the tortoise and the hare, and there's the ones that they know what they want, and like you said, that button is for them at the top.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I haven't thought about that. The tortoise and the hare, for sure. You know, there's the people that are probably going to have to, like I said, read every word of your sales page, and you really do have to convince people. You may know that they need it. I mean, it could be your best friend and you're like, I know she needs this, but you know she's going to read through it and be like, you know, I need to know that, you know, I'm spending my money on something that I'm actually going to get what I think that I'm going to get. And that's why including that information of, you know, the struggle part is always important. And, you know, you have, I mentioned the warm buyer, you know, someone that already knows who you are, maybe have already read the email and they know who you are. And that would probably be your, you know, bunny rabbit, the hare of, I'm ready to go right now. And then you do have that slower person that maybe, they're going to take a little bit longer to, maybe they don't know you yet. Maybe you were recommended to them by someone, or maybe they're just newer to your email list, or even just saw a Facebook ad that you're running and clicked on it. And so they definitely are going to need that transition. And that's really who you put that information in there for the struggle and all of that, is for that person that's going to take a little bit more time to read through. And, you know, they're going to get through a little bit, and then you put the payment button. Like, there's going to be some people that click that one, and then there's going to be people that have to go all the way to the bottom and read through everything else that you've included to make sure that they really do want to invest their money. And I would say too, it would depend on, you know, are you spending $37 or $3,700? You know, that makes a big difference too. They're probably going to read through to the bottom, even if they're already kind of thinking, I think this is for me. When you have a bigger investment, the more that they're probably going to take in all of that content.
So there's a few things too that would happen that would really help them buy as well. And so what is your thought on payment plans?
I like payment plans. I definitely wouldn't, you know, think to do a $37 payment plan for sure, but anything over $100. And, you know, I've even seen people do payment plans of like 2 payments of $47. And I feel like there's pre-2020 payment plans and then post-2020 payment plans, because I've seen so many changes this year with people that have offered those extra payment plans. And I know even for myself, sometimes I might be able to go out and buy, you know, for example, like I know, you know, we have horses. Like I may be able to go out and buy a horse, but if I can make a payment plan on it, I'm more likely to go that route.
Right.
And so just because your course is, you know, maybe $300, sometimes it's easier for people to pay maybe $350 or $400 in a longer span, especially if you're offering something that, you know, maybe if it's for your newborn, going to, you know, getting your newborn to go to sleep, that might be a little bit different. But if you're someone whose target is maybe people who have just lost their job and they're trying to start an online business, you know, even then it's more important for your audience to have that extra payment plan. And so if you have a bigger course, you know, I've seen courses that are $3,000 and they just offer the $1,500, maybe two, or maybe even $1,700, because sometimes they'll bump up the price.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yes, for sure. Like bump it up.
That, because when you're getting a payment plan, you're buying time basically. So I think it's a good idea to raise the price on the payment plans.
Yes.
Extra what? Like how much would you raise it?
For, well, I'm such a numbers geek too. Like I don't just divide it in half and then add 10% and it's like, well, it's $348.95. Like I wouldn't have some random, you know, number like that probably. So I like to, I really just like to play around with it, and it depends on the price. You know, I'm probably not going to add $1,000 to the end of their payment for sure. But you know, if I was going to do 3,000 divided by 2, I probably 1,750 would probably be what I would do there. But if I was going to split like $100 payment into 2 payments, I would probably do maybe like 60 or something
It
a little.
depends on the price point.
Yes, for sure. But payment plans, I definitely feel like, the ones that are 3,000 that you've seen, maybe they'll offer two payments. I really have seen a lot of the even taking it down to, and I'm not good at math for sure. So without a calculator, I might say 12 payments of $97. And so that's weekly or monthly or something like that, where they can really pay that out over time.
Longer.
Yes, I've seen a lot more of that this year than any other time.
Yeah, I've never seen it really before the pandemic hit. So things have changed for, the rules for sales pages. Can you talk to us about testimonials and how those help seal even more of the deal?
Yes, testimonials are so important, especially if your audience is someone who's not worked with you before, or they don't know you. Those can really, really, really change the game for somebody that's kind of new to your brand and who you are. And I love including testimonials. And one of the biggest things that I've heard feedback from people, when I'm helping them with their sales pages is, well, I don't have testimonials. This is a new course. Mm-hmm. And so I've never created anything like this to get testimonials, which of course we know for new courses, if we're doing something, say you're a graphic designer and you're going to teach somebody to do Photoshop, you've worked with people as a graphic designer. So you actually do have a ton of testimonials. And so anything that's in that niche. Now, obviously, if you're a graphic designer now suddenly teaching people to knit, mm-hmm. you might not have those testimonials, but I bet you are getting into that niche of knitting because somebody has said something like, oh my gosh, you're so amazing at this. Maybe you've given a bunch of gifts that you've knitted and you're like, man, I really am good at this. And you can use those things that people have said as testimonials to your talents.
I see. So weave that into the testimonials, even though they haven't taken the course. Like for me, I did a beta pricing for my course for freelance graphic designers. And I got a lot of people that were interested. Some I gave seats for free and some I charged a lower rate. So it just depends on, like, if you want the testimonials bad enough, will you give it free? Or if you want to make some money on this in a more passive way, then on top of that passive income, then you can charge for it.
Yes. Yeah, doing a beta is definitely a good idea to get tested, like specifically to get those testimonials and have people go through to say, man, maybe I have too many PDFs and ebooks. Maybe I need to do a quick training, or maybe I wasn't clear in this module on something. I need to add in a workbook for that or something. So betas can be really good to not only just gather the testimonials, but also see if you need to tweak anything before you launch it, for sure.
I really like your point about weaving in testimonials, just about the experience with you and your, even your character, your way of doing business. Because nowadays we're on so many different platforms. And I actually, this morning on Instagram, was asking someone, what do you like about my emails? I see that you're a loyal email opener, and I just want to know what you like about my emails. Now, in this case, she said she thinks they're lovely. And so I wanted to prompt her a little bit more, because lovely, that's great, but I would like a little bit more of a testimonial. But that's a really good point, because you're not cheating if you're putting how people really feel about you, because it's basically a personal brand. You're the one that is providing the information.
Yeah. And I think, maybe in the beginning when people were starting out with business, it just feels so different these days that, we don't know who owns Target. We don't see their Instagram. We don't, see them running around doing whatever they're doing out in their life with their kids and stuff. But most of us, especially the people that are my customers and probably a lot of yours as well, are personal brands. And that's what they want more than anything, is that connection. They want to know. I mean, I've had people ask me things like, oh, what kind of phone case do you have? I love that. I want one of those. Or, what kind of eyeshadow do you, I mean, I'm not a makeup expert. I'm not an influencer, but people will ask you, and they, I get a lot of compliments. Sometimes I'll have my dogs and my horses on. My horses have absolutely nothing to do with my business, but just that personal, I feel like I know you, and you can get that kind of that feeling of how this person is. Maybe you are someone who is direct. You tell people exactly, no, this isn't good. We need to work on this a little bit more. And maybe that testimonial of, she's so direct and it really helped me, tweak my design skills, because she helped so much. She was direct. There was no fluff, it was like, oh yeah, you're good. No, she was very direct, helped me in areas where I was lacking to build that up and that experience. And so there's maybe someone else who needs to know that too, that you are direct and you are going to help them. It's not just a bunch of fluff, like, just give me your money, that she really does help me. And it just kind of helps with that personal touch of, okay, well, Jean says she's amazing. So, maybe she really is this amazing, to have these testimonials. And, you've mentioned your beta course. I have bought a product from you before, and I am even a designer. So, my testimonial to how your ebook and your PDF, and I think I bought a bundle of things, but how that helped me as a designer to quickly create something could have been a great testimonial for you to use on that page, because that is an honest experience that I had with you, just not through the course, but still something that was an honest.
And I'll get that from you after this.
I'll send that
over. So you have had experience with sales pages that has really helped people explode their growth. Explain to us a little bit about your experience and how that helped other people grow their businesses.
Yeah, and I don't even think at the time that I knew, what I was. Not that I didn't know what I was doing, but I don't think I realized at the time that sales pages were something that I was even good at. It was just, I did web design. It was part of it. Like, design your about page, design your sales page. It didn't really matter. But one of the things that someone spoke to me that I feel like had to have been a God thing, because she didn't know me that well, but I would get ideas of things like, oh, if you had a t-shirt business, you could do this. Or if you had a stationery business, you could do this and offer this. And I used to think that that was like a curse of something, that's all I was good at. It was coming up with stuff, but not actually, like, I have no business with a stationery business. Like, why would I have that?
That is sellable. You got to package that. That's sellable.
Right.
Like, if it feels like second nature to you, that is what you should be doing.
Right.
So you've created sales pages. Things have fallen in your lap in a way, but you are really good at it. So what makes your sales pages bring in the revenue?
Oh gosh.
Pump yourself up. Brag a little.
I would say really the trial and error that I experienced in the beginning of my business. I've been a designer since 2010. And so just the things that I've learned every time you create something, everyone's always scared to be a beginner at something. But as I was a beginner in design, I would learn things. And so maybe let's say I worked for you, and then I learned something, and then I would work with someone else and I would learn something, and maybe not even something that you taught me directly, but maybe something that someone told you about sales pages that you could feed into me. And so I learned a lot of things from those different directions and really just diving in, and then putting all of that together. That, you know, this girl taught me, like the payment button thing. That's not something that I just made up. That was something that someone taught me and told me. And I think I just had so much experience over the years of designing for, you know, we were talking before we recorded this, of I almost always say that, you know, it's like a curse. I had all these different types of businesses that I worked with, but, you know, there's also a blessing in that too, because I learned different things for different businesses with different audiences that help take that conversion. And, you know, like I said in the beginning, it's taking that person on a journey and learning that. And then even the things that I've learned from a copywriter, you know, that taking that person on the journey. And I think just all of those things that I've learned and throwing that into sales pages, that is what has helped me be good at them, I guess.
So what resources do you have that would help the viewers get started with their sales page? And sales pages can be used for different things, correct? So there's not just for courses. What else can you use a sales page for?
Yeah, so this is one of the things I learned as a graphic designer. You know, you see people with these services on their website for anything. I mean, it really can go for anything. For putting in a new kitchen sink, right? You're going to go to a page and you're going to see a service. And what I learned and what I did after, not in the beginning, unfortunately, but after a while, I would take my service of let me design your website, right? So just instead of just saying, I can design your website, $2,500, I created more of a sales page, and I took them on that journey of why you need a website, what it can do for you. Right now you're struggling to get sales because your website is lacking. And that same exact thing that we went through in this video of taking that person through the journey, and to where at the end they're like, I don't even need a website and I want one, you know, that kind of feeling. So I think that if you do have those specific services, even for a photographer, maybe you're wanting to do, you know, photographers sometimes will have certain sessions that have a niche in maybe, and it's not just senior pictures. Yeah, seniors go get pictures, but maybe something that you want to get more throughout the year. Maybe you're doing Easter sessions, and taking that person through that journey of why they want that service or why they should buy that from you. Because especially if you're someone who's getting referrals from other people that don't know you, and they're not like, I love Jean's photography, don't care what she's offering, I'm going to buy it. Those people that do come through referrals can kind of find out that journey and why they need to buy from you instead of someone else. So I really like to do not a long sales page with a bunch of buy buttons, but a short version of a sales page of taking them through that journey of why they need your service. And of course, including a little bit, you know, about you too, of who you are and why you're the person to design their website or their logo or take their photographs. And then, or be their plumber. I mean, it really could probably work for any.
It works for anything. It really does.
Really.
You could almost say that the website is a sales page of sorts. And like if you treat each page like a sales page, then you're going to have a lot more conversions and success. And so there's, like you said, the journey. So everyone will start at different places. So not everyone comes in through your homepage. Sometimes they come in through your services page. And then like Instagram, I'm on Instagram a lot. And because I consciously decided to use Instagram for business, I had an inquiry come in yesterday through my Instagram DMs from a coach that said, I have a coaching client who's a naturopathic doctor and coach, speaker, and we're going through all these proposals for Squarespace website designers, and I hate all of them. And I like your stuff, so I'm going to give her your name. Is that okay? Do you do Squarespace? And that was so unexpected because I had just commented on the picture in her story that her husband cooked her breakfast. And I was like, oh, I have one of those, like joking, like I have a
Yeah,
husband that does that. And
I
that
did
led
too.
into, yeah, that led into that discussion. And so it's really exciting to think about all the possibilities, and also know that even though you may feel nervous about what you're selling, because if you're just starting and just learning about sales pages, you're probably coming from a beginner level, and those nerves are normal.
Mm-hmm.
And confidence is key. So if you have the right format for the sales page, I think that will bring the confidence with it. So what do you have resource-wise that they can use to get over those beginner jitters?
Yeah, so I have a checklist that goes over some of the things that we talked about, but it's christyjolightfoot.com/checklist. And so it's the key pieces that you really need to make sure that you include. And then I have an audio clip too of me like kind of telling you a little bit more than just the checklist, because I always like to kind of overgive anyways, but so that you know why you need that and how that can help you, and just gives you a little bit more in-depth view before you do start creating your sales page. So that's definitely a good one. And, and that's probably how I got into sales pages, to be honest. You were talking about your website, the pages on your website being sales pages. I would say probably 3 to 4 years after I started doing websites, my about page was a sales page. And so when I would ask people, like if I was going to do your website, I would say, okay, send me your about information. And be like, okay, well, I was raised in Texas and I've been designing websites since 2010. And that's it. And I'm like, no, girl, you need to send me all the things, because we're going to tell them about you, and then now tell them what you're doing, why you're doing it. And then, hey, have you checked out my sales page audit? Like, obviously that would be something for me to naturally go into. Like, this is who I am. I was raised in Texas. I love my husband who cooks breakfast for me, and and those fun about things. But then here's why I do what I do. Here's how I can help you. Hey, have you checked out my sales page audit, or something like that, to where you can kind of naturally go into that sales, because throughout your website anyways, you want to be leading them to pay you, right? So it just naturally, the about page is one of the most forgotten pages. And, especially if you're on lockdown, people are probably reading your about page more than they normally do. So even adding in some, maybe not a full sales page with buy buttons, but leading them to the sales page that has the buy buttons, for sure.
Right. And so we talked about this before the recording too, the different types of offers that could also get people to that sales page. And so you can start out with an opt-in freebie, which would be a free thing, which is your checklist, correct?
Yes.
And then move them into a smaller offer that's $27 to $37. And that is kind of getting them to put their toes in the water and try out what you're offering. And then on the sales page, you have your higher offer. So it would behoove you to have several different types of offers, because everyone likes variety. And some people, they have no problem spending more money, so don't be afraid to have that higher offer. But like you talked about your checklist, then you have an audit, which I think is amazing for sales pages. And that gets them for a very affordable price to go into their sales page and break it down and tell them where they can improve. You basically edit it, correct?
Pretty much, yeah. Like, go through and tell them you need to change this, this, and this. And you're right. Like, some people don't want to just, well, and not only do people, a ton of people, the reason why I love having different offers is because not only does everyone want me to design their own sales page? I can't design everybody's sales page, right? I mean, my husband would have to be bringing me breakfast every day, which I would not have a problem with, but I probably wouldn't be going to sleep either. So having those smaller offers can take up also some of that time that, you know, something that you usually smaller offers are, you create it once and then they can go through that and review that. And so that's always really handy to help. And so you do have those, you know, shorter sales pages or for that, because obviously, you know, it's easier to spend $37 than it is to spend $3,700. So,
but
you
if
know,
they spend $37 once, and then they're going to probably follow you around wherever you're hanging out at. And that just builds more trust and more trust, because most people, almost everybody, is not going to come out and be like, yep, $3,700. I don't know anything about you, and here's my credit card. They're not going to.
Never met her. She has no testimonials on her website. Don't know what she does, but I'm going to give her $3,700.
Right.
Yeah.
So in your audit, you provide the editing of the copy. And I mean, you literally go through their sales page, correct?
Yeah, so I do a video. So I hop on the video and it's me talking as I go through their sales page and giving them, you know, sometimes people have a great sales page. They just have things out of order to take them through that journey. Sometimes their branding is off. Sometimes, you know, they maybe DIY'd it and they've never done any type of design or sales page before. So there's a lot more that we kind of go through just to take them through the client journey, but also so they land on it. And that's, you know, something else. And I don't think I included it in here, but you know, if someone's going to give you money, you want to have a professional looking sales page, because otherwise they're like, is this for real? Is this somebody just stealing credit card numbers? I mean, you know, those kind of sites are out there where there are fraud people. And so obviously if you have a professional looking sales page with your photo on it and, you know, all of those things like testimonials and things like that, then it's easier for people to get out their wallet and give you that information. So that's one of the things that I help with the sales page audit, to go through and just make it a little bit more professional, or in any way that I can help improve it, so that, you know, obviously the end result is you want people to hit the buy button. So anything that's going to make that better. And, you know, sometimes people have amazing courses and offers, but their sales page doesn't match that. And it's not for anything that they did wrong. It's simply because maybe they're amazing at knitting, but their expertise is not going to be in creating a sales page. So
Right.
They might have this, you know, you could be the next international knitter of America. Probably doesn't exist, but, you know, you could be the next, you know, teach you to be so amazing at that and learn from them. But their sales page just doesn't tell you how amazing that is. And they don't get that same, their sales page doesn't match their offer, because naturally that's not what they're good at. And so just taking that and helping them tweak that and make those changes to where people have that shut up and take my money attitude towards their sales pages.
Yeah, on that note, I would say, because we've all been there, where we have a certain amount of money that we can spend on an expert or that we can hire out. And I am very careful with how I spend that. And I would say, if you're not sure where to spend your money first, it would be to put it into an expert that is going to get you sales. And so a sales page does that. And so hiring someone who specializes in that, first of all, saves you time and gives you way better results, because you could DIY it. But I'm a perfect example, because I can design my way out of a paper bag, but sales pages are different That's just something that there needs to be a certain format. You need to avoid the mistakes that we talked about. And I just recently changed the template of my website, and my sales page now looks disgusting because all of the copy went like from each to each side. So in fact, when we get off this call, I got to go and like disable that page because I'm embarrassed. But hiring out where you're not strong, that is where the money should go if it's going to bring you sales. So I give you a lot of credit for what you said was your curse. It's not like, for you, it feels like a curse, but for others, it's a blessing. So would there be anything else you want to share before we end?
Gosh, no, I don't think so. Not that I can think of.
Any mistakes?
Gosh, did we? There is one other thing that I would say that you could definitely add. As you're adding in the information, obviously you want to tell people about your course and the modules that it includes. But don't bore them with details for sure. Keep, maybe a fun, like I like to name things. I like to name my modules, not just module 1, learn how to put your baby to sleep. Like, make it a little bit more funner than that. Even if you have to go to, thesaurus.com or something like that, and, switch out a word for another word for amazing, or, use different adjectives to describe things. Just very descriptive, because obviously you're painting them a picture, or they're painting a picture in their head of where they are and where you're going to take them through your course or offer. But also you want to make sure that you include all of the information, because sometimes we think, well, if they have any questions, they'll reach out. People don't have time to reach out. And even if they have intention to, even more so now than, before, they're going to forget probably to reach out, unless this is like a dire need that they have to have, which, unless you're selling toilet paper right now, it's probably not at the top of the list, but is making sure that you do include all of that stuff. So at the end, one of the last things before the last buy button that I like to include is like fact sections, or FAQs.
Yeah.
And also if you're going to have any refund or guarantee, and if you're not going to have one, you want to make sure that you include that, because the last thing that you want to happen is a bunch of people, or several people, or sometimes even one, because I know one chargeback can, depending on the price of your course, can be devastating to people, obviously. If you have a $3,000 course, you don't want someone saying, well, I purchased this thinking that I had a 14-day guarantee and I don't. But it's actually really interesting that they say a refund or guarantee is that you should do 7 to 14 days, and that even offering that, the percentage, which I'll have to get the exact number, but you would think, people naturally, you get that fear and you're thinking, oh my gosh, like 90% of people are going to get a refund.
No.
It's so low. And you think about, maybe the things that you've bought, maybe you order something from Victoria's Secret, you order a bunch of things, and then you get this one item, maybe it's a pair of pajama pants that maybe doesn't quite fit, but then you have 7 days to return it, and you lay it in your closet, you forget. It's kind of the same thing where you're like, oh my gosh, it's so simple to package it back up, but we don't think to reach out, or maybe they don't immediately go through your content, or, especially if it's a lower price, people aren't going to ask for a refund on $37. And if they are, they're the type of people you probably don't want in your program if they've read the sales page anyways. So
yeah, the FAQs are very important. You always have to answer their questions before they ask them. And that is kind of a rule of thumb for everything you do online.
Yes.
Your content online. So I loved this conversation. Thank you so much.
I know, me too.
Now I got to go tear down my sales page. So if you guys enjoyed this discussion, hit subscribe below so you don't miss any videos about your online business. And I will put the links down below so that you can access Christy's checklist and the other offers that she has. And even get to see the different sales pages that she's designed. I don't know about you, Christy, but I love peeping at everybody else's work.
Yeah, I have to be careful because I obviously don't want to, get to where I'm designing like someone else for sure. As a designer, you have to sometimes be careful, but I do love branding and I love design and I do love looking at other people's stuff. I just try to be very in the middle about it for sure. But that's also fun ways to find, how other people do different like payment buttons or something like that, just to know how you can stand out and be different.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I can't wait to put your tips to good use.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nailed it.